And we are back with another exciting top 5 PlayStation Vita game episode. Today's episode we will go over the top 5 first-person shooter games available on the handheld. And to get you even more excited about this video, I'm giving away 2 $20 PlayStation Network cards. All you have to do is first, subscribe to this channel. Second, comment down below your favorite game on the PlayStation platforms. Third, give this video a like. And fourth, follow me on all my social media links, including Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, and Facebook, where I'll announce the winners within the month. So, without further ado, let's get to the video. At number 5, we got Resistance Burning Skies, and sure you've heard my mixed reviews on this game, but let's get real. There's a limited amount of FPS games offered on the Vita, so for this list, I replayed some of these games just to get a better idea of what were the things I didn't like and what were the things I actually liked about it. And Resistance Burning Skies, given the fact was the very first FPS game available on the handheld, and because it was from Resistance, one of my favorite series on the PlayStation platform, I had my own expectations, but at the same time, I had to kind of consider the fact that it was an FPS game. So I took that into consideration when I did this list, but there's still things that I just don't really like about it, but there's things I do like about it. The story is entertaining to some regard. You play as a New Jersey firefighter named Tom Riley and go face to face with Chimerian invasion and fight big intense battles, and it's set between the Resistance First and Resistance 2, but having a perspective of a different person during the same time period and the same world. It does have an online multiplayer experience, but unfortunately it lacks a lot of weapons, and literally choosing a small selection of classes and maps makes it an okay balance, but obviously there's a lot that I wish was included on the multiplayer experience. Playing the game, I understood where the reviews, my personal experience felt disappointed, but again, it plays well using the control mechanics and utilizes the touchscreen in some regards without necessarily getting too repetitive. Again, considering it was the first FPS game on the PlayStation Vita, I was kind of considering that when I was doing this video once again, and I just wish there was more weapons you can choose from on the story mode, on the online multiplayer experience, and I would guarantee you I would have still been playing this game if it had the same charm that it had from the first Resistance game, because the Resistance 1 was one of the first games that I played on the PlayStation 3, and it's one of the main reasons why I got into the FPS genre. So that's why I was kind of like had higher expectations that I should have, but at the same time, you know, it still played well. It utilizes the touchscreen. The dual analog sticks work perfectly on this game, so if you can find this game super cheap, I would definitely recommend you just kind of trying it out. At number 4, we have Call of Duty Black Ops Declassified. Okay, so the Resistance franchise is the reason why I started playing FPS games years ago, and the early Call of Duty games, including Call of Duty 4, Modern Warfare 2, World at War, is the reasons why I stayed in this genre. So again, when the PlayStation Vita was getting its own rendition of a Call of Duty game, I was excited. I felt a bit undersold with Resistance Burning Skies, and I felt that Sony was going to get this right, considering it was a big franchise game coming to the handheld that would help grow the community on the PlayStation Vita, but also on sales for Sony. So I was a little bit excited, or I was a lot excited when I found out that the game was sold out in all the retails when it came out. Then I find out that Nailstick, the same developers that made Burning Skies and that don't exist today, were then developing this game. So at that point I was kind of skeptical, a lot of skeptical, honestly, because I was like, okay, Nailstick, this is your time to redeem yourself. Don't prove me wrong, essentially. Prove me wrong. Don't do a terrible iteration of this game. And again, it's a love-hate sort of relationship with this game, unfortunately. The nice thing about this game, it still has an online community, so if you were to play it today, you can still find some people playing multiplayer on Call of Duty. So it's kind of cool that they still have that community going on. The multiplayer consists of familiar game modes such as Team Deathmatch, Kill Confirmed, Drop Zone, and Team Tactical. And just like any Call of Duty game, you can go ahead and unlock more weapons and skins the higher you rank by killing more people and getting those experience points. You also have a kill streak rewards like a UAV, care package, and attack helicopter, having secondary weapons played on familiar maps found on the story mode, but playing against actual people instead of the stupid AI, which we'll get into the story mode just a little bit, or the quote-unquote story mode. It's still fun. There is some lag issues, but considering the fact that there is no way you can connect it directly through an Ethernet, I'm okay with that, but the online can kind of be a little laggy, but it's still fun to some regard. Followed by the online multiplayer, the game also has a trail mode where we can go ahead and go through a course of levels by shooting at targets as fast as possible, followed by a hostiles mode where you can go ahead and shoot waves of enemies in a small secluded area, which is like zombies to some regard, but it's more than anything like what was found in Modern Warfare 3, just on a smaller scale and limited weapons. And unfortunately, I wish there was some sort of co-op we can connect with another PlayStation Vita. That doesn't have it, you're just solo, which is kind of boring because I wish there was an online component to that, but it's still kind of a nice thing that they added it. And while there's a lot of people that go straight to the online component of Call of Duty games, which is the reason why a lot of people stay, there's still some bad. The big thing is obviously some of the sounds, the weapons, and the graphics kind of lack a little bit. But the big one has to be the quote-unquote story mode, which is it's not even a story mode whatsoever, but rather a small bite-sized missions connecting the pieces between Black Ops 1 and Black Ops 2, playing as Hudson and Mason. So familiar characters added to some cutscenes, which doesn't necessarily sound bad. But again, there's no checkpoints within these missions. So these missions can take you 10 to 15 minutes to complete, which doesn't seem bad, but when the AI is just aimlessly shooting at you and somehow not running out of ammo and you're over here just barely with a pistol, it definitely becomes more frustrating, even more when it comes to a higher difficulty. Because if you think, oh, it's because you're in hard mode. No, it's even in easy mode, it's still difficult. Could you imagine hard mode? It'd be complete suicide. So that's why it's a lot of anger that comes with this game. I'm currently doing a walkthrough on it. I'll have a episode 3 soon enough, so you can go ahead and check out the first 2 episodes, and you can definitely see where the rage comes from this game. At number 3, we had Borderlands 2 on the PlayStation Vita. So I knew about the Borderlands universe, and I didn't really have a chance to play the first game until it was ported on the handheld with a lot of more DLC to enjoy. This game is a mix between a role-playing game and a first-person shooter perspective, and the nice addition to the game is that there's a lot of exploration to be done, considering that it's an open world game to some extent. The gameplay consists of completing missions and collecting random generated loot, such as weapons, shields, skins, and other various items, all wrapped around at least a more engaging and interesting story. So it's 5 years after the first installment of Borderlands, introducing new Vault Hunters on a quest to rescue Roland, who has been captured by a bounty hunter. So the whole idea of this game is exploring the world by battling mini and big bosses, making new friends, enemies, but also having a comedic relief by the one and only CL4P TP, or I just call him Wally because it's more easy to remember that way. I would say the story and the style of the game and the characters and the dialogue definitely make this a very fun game. Granted, there are some bugs and glitches that are apparent on the PlayStation Vita edition, including loading times that take a little bit more than I feel they should. But again, it's a fun game. There's a lot to do. I've never played the first Borderlands and I need to play that, but at least playing this game consist with all the DLC definitely makes for a fun experience. But even with the glitches and the loading times, I felt that there was still a reason to come back for the story, and I still enjoyed the whole characters that you end up encountering, some of the bosses, even though sometimes they became a little bit tedious, the weapons, the upgrades, all of that definitely made this an enjoyable game. Also, there was some sort of online component to that where you can play, I think, with another person or something like that. I never got it to work personally, so I have no idea what that online component is, and I'm too lazy to look it up. But if you play Borderlands 2 on the PlayStation Vita Online, could you just give in the comment section below what exactly did that consist of? Because I never got it to work, but it's there. I don't know what it does, but it's there. At number 2, we have Unit 13. From the creators of the SOCOM series comes Zipper Interactive with the first and actually their last game on the PlayStation Vita. Unit 13 is a third-person and a first-person shooter game that is played similar to the SOCOM game. The game consists of 45 different missions and objectives, where the main mission is to take down global terror networks and overall prove your place in the military elite. The game utilizes the Vita's dual analog sticks, unique touchscreen activity, and you can go ahead and connect with another player and complete 2-player co-op. There are a lot of mini missions at any desired direction, to having missions allowing to take a specific approach to even stealth mode, giving the player a nice little variety of options. Upon completing a mission, you can go ahead and unlock dynamic modes, which changes objectives and locations as well as enemy weapons, random values, and points in the environment. Zipper Interactive at one point had daily missions where players could go ahead and complete different missions on a daily basis, but unfortunately that feature was taken down when Zipper RIP'd and was never found, so you can't do that anymore. There's not necessarily your stereotypical story mode where you play from start to finish. Instead, it's mini missions meant for you to play on the go, which is why they take around a couple of minutes, depending 5 to 10 to 20 minutes. Overall, the game is fun and different in terms of having missions being completed within 5 to 20 minutes, depending on that mission. Not a lot of exploration necessarily, but there's a lot of like loot and weapons you can go ahead and customize. And if you ever played the first installments of SOCOM games, it definitely has that same feel, I would say, when it comes to its third-person perspective. And at number 1, we have, drumroll please, Killzone Mercenary. Developed by Guerrilla Cambridge, is the second handheld Killzone game on the PlayStation platforms and easily on my top 5 PlayStation Vita games of all time. The story starts with the hell-gassed invasion of Vecta, and it takes place between Killzone 2 and Killzone 3 and revisits many key events of the first two Killzone games from perspectives of Aaron Danner. Aaron Danner is a mercenary that is hired to execute operations for the ISA and is aided by his boss, Anders Binoy. Furthermore, the game gets more intense when Danner discovers that the outcome of war could very well depend on the fate of the ambassador's young son, that begins to wonder whether the price of victory is really worth the paycheck, which becomes easily the better stories of the FPS genre within the PlayStation Vita. There is a total of 8 online maps, including the DLC that was later added, which I feel Killzone Mercenary is among the few games that actually got support after its launch by the developer. The game maps are inspired by the story mode and have their own aesthetic look and feel to them. The game modes include Mercenary Warfare, which is a free-for-all, and easily enough, the person with the most cash, well, wins the round. Guerrilla Warfare is Team Deathmatch, which is a 5 versus 5 including yourself, where it gets more competitive and fun. And the last game mode is Warzone, where players complete various objectives over the course of 5 rounds that range from hacking terminals to earning valor cards and overall a team deathmatch battle. Overall, this game is extremely fun from its story mode to its online component, and Mercenary is definitely a full package available on the PlayStation Vita and the best FPS game on the handheld. Once again, thank you so much for watching the top 5 FPS games on the PlayStation Vita of all time. Make sure to enter that giveaway, link in the description for more information on that, and I'll catch you guys on the next video. And I actually mean the next video. Like, you don't have to wait another month and a half to get the next upload, trust me. Or put me on blast on Twitter if I don't do that, which is at The Fever Gaming, by the way. See you guys.